I've never really had that happen before. But we're back. Hopefully, everyone can find the new show. No one's in here yet, so hopefully they'll find us soon. Uh, but yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about the James Cameron releases, the 4K physical releases here. I'm waiting until a little bit more people show up. Okay,
Of course.
Stan, better. Okay. DC Sibinator?
D. Sibner.
Sibner says, "Are we back? Are we live? We are live. We are back. Let us know, guys, how the audio is. Hopefully that fixed it. Yeah. All right. So, what we were talking about really is two different things here is going on. And I think we both agree on it. First,
Yeah.
everyone's judging the physical release based on what they saw on streaming or didn't even see but saw through Reddit articles or Facebook group posts.
Yeah.
And then, as you brought out earlier in the in the first try of this live show, you brought out that reviewers who get a disc early to review, they will go ahead and post it, and people latch onto that and think, well, this is it. This is how the 4K
Right.
looks or the Blu-ray looks. One thing with that is, and I've seen that a lot lately, and don't get me started on Blu-ray.com, because the past couple years, I don't even pay attention to Blu-ray.com outside of release dates.
Yep.
I had a couple of friends of mine, well, people I know, that reviewed for Blu-ray.com, and they quit because they said the whole thing just completely changed, and they started just hiring anybody who had a home theater system. You had a home theater system, you can review for us,
Yep.
instead of getting people to know what they're talking about. So I'm also seeing on a lot of people read on Reddit and physical media groups on Facebook and social media where somebody will give The Abyss, Aliens, or just a random movie a bad review because of how it looks on their system. And then they roll with it. Like you said, they latch onto that and they roll with it and they think, well, then it's garbage. I'm not going to buy
Right.
this 4K. I keep trying to tell people, wait until I call them legit reviewers. Someone like Bill Hunt from the Digital Bits, DVD Beaver, High Def Digest, I think is called. Those are people that worked in the business. They know what they're looking at. They understand what they're looking at, and you can always rely, especially on Bill Hunt. That's my go-to guy. He knows what he's talking about. He's been reviewing for almost 30 years. He
Right.
knows his stuff. Those are the people you want to pay attention to. You don't want to pay attention to, Joe Schmo on a Reddit thread that says, "Oh, this looks like crap," and then you find out he has a 27-inch TV that he has motion smoothing on. You don't know what these people are watching their product on.
Even then, I mean, many of them, yeah, they probably have the right setups, and they're watching these on a decent 4K player on a decent TV. The harder part, they just plain don't know what they're talking about. A lot of these people, especially you and I have talked about this on DM a couple times. So many people use the term DNR and don't
Yeah,
even know what that actually means.
right.
It's baffling the way that I've read that in context over the last couple of weeks.
They throw around this term DNR scrubbing
Yeah.
and they don't know. Like I said, they don't know what it means. In fact, I went so far as asking somebody, "Well, can you tell me what DNR means?" And I never heard back from him. So that's your
Of course
answer right
not.
there. I've asked people that said, "Well, the HDR makes the picture look so dark." And I said, "Well, do you know what HDR is used for? Do you know what HDR even stands for?" And they,
Right.
no. And so these are the people. I'm not saying everybody watching this, but these are people. A lot of people are taking reviews from. It's people who don't even know what they're looking at or understand what they're looking at. Let's read some of the comments here. I see some comments coming in here. Fix. Okay, let's see here. Disseminator, is that his name?
Sibner, yes.
Sibiner. Sorry. Let's see. He says it's the people spouting random tech numbers and posting color gamut charts. So sometimes, and again, they don't know what they're looking at. They try to put
Yep.
all this information to look like they know what they're talking about, but when it comes down to it, ask questions and they won't be able to answer it. Yeah, he says it's all nonsense. Then let's see here. Rejay, Rejay,
I think it's
Reggie
Reggie.
19, Reggie 19. Sorry, sorry if I'm butchering your guys' names. Thanks for joining us, man. He says hello, Paul and Ryan. Hey, man, thanks for joining us. I know I'm going to butcher his name again. Disseminator, right? Is that right?
Sibiner, exactly how it's spelled.
Sibiner. Okay, Sibiner. I always want to say Seminator. Oh, they've already gone after Bill. Oh, it's ridiculous. Oh yeah, yeah. I don't know Bill personally, but I've gotten to know him online. We talk, we chat, and yeah, we've gotten into it about some of these people that basically say Bill is full of crap, and
Right.
people saying I'm full of crap. I'm sure you've gotten it too with what you've said, what you say. Filmnut 79 says I only got the Abyss and True Lies so far. Aliens should be in my hands on Friday, so I can't judge that. But I've only seen the Abyss on disc, and it looks good. Yeah, and that's what I want to talk about a little bit later after we get through these comments here. Let's see. Ahoy, gang! Silent Mandible. John Pimmel. Hey, John, thanks for joining us. John's a regular here. He says, a takeaway I'm getting from the three reviewers, including Bill, is yes, the James Cameron films are upgrades, but it's not for everyone. I suspect these titles won't be a reference disc for many, but we'll see. Yeah, I'll get into the more comments a little bit later, but let's go ahead and get into it. So I went ahead and started pulling images for the. If you guys don't know, if you're watching me for the first time, I do 4K versus Blu-ray or 4K versus DVD comparisons. I take images natively from the disc. I don't just take a picture of my phone off the TV, and then I put them side by side, so you can get a true, accurate representation of what the 4K looks like compared to what we had before. So I finished True Lies yesterday. I finished The Abyss actually before we started this. And there's a world of difference with The Abyss.
Yep.
World of difference. First of all, I'm not going to get into everything because I want to save it for the review. But just to give people a little hint here, we always had a heavy purplish and heavy bluish tones with The Abyss. I remember on Laserdisc, DVD, VHS, the 4K goes to a more, I want to say, aqua or greenish tones, along with blue tones. And what this has done is it draws out so much more information in the image. It looks so much more natural and much more appropriate for the underwater environments. And so I saw a world of difference when I compared it to the DVD. I mean, that was just, it's DVD is overly warm, overly saturated. It's got all these ugly purples and blues. When you put
Right.
them side by side, it just looks like garbage. Yeah, and True Lies, I will say, is the weakest one of all three. And I get into more why. But let me hear your thoughts on what you thought of the three films on 4K.
I mean, I'm at the point where I'm literally calling these good, better, and best. And I think looking at these, it's really obvious. All three are a leaps and bounds upgrade over what we've had from legal releases in the past. Whoops. And even True Lies, which by all means does have some over digital over digital messing with. I won't say digital noise reduction because it's more than that. This is not just DNR that's plaguing this release. They are using AI enhancements to bring out some data, which in fact has made us lose some data. So yeah, True Lies and the funny thing here, everybody's looking at this release as being botched the entire thing. It's mostly great. It's
Yeah.
like a handful of scenes that are sort of off-putting, and even then they're reaching that uncanny valley. They're not in it. It is still a really, really great 4K release compared to the others, But when you're looking at this, it's better than anything we've ever had in the past. And honestly, when you're looking at that now, it's easy to say, well, sure, but we should have had better. I mean, maybe, but also we don't know the behind the scenes process. We don't know the state of the elements. We don't know what happened.
I
I know that you know some
I
of
do.
it because you got friends. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not going to get into all of it because I'm going to save a big chunk of it for the True Lies review.
Yep.
But just very, very, very simply and basic. First of all, they went back to the original Super 35 millimeter negative. It was damaged where the perfs were shrunk, which means that it was almost unusable due to decades of sitting in storage, just basically rotting. So that's number one, and they worked with what they had. Some people ask me, well, then why didn't they just use an interpositive? I don't know. I can't answer that, but I do know that they wanted to strike it from the original camera negative, which is really the best way to go. Secondly, they with the grain, my friend told me that the True Lights actually had a lot of soft focus and a lot of out of focus shots through it, and the only way to combat that is by doing push the sharpening a little bit more than they would have liked to, and using some of the techniques like some grain management and the AI algorithms in order to get the video that's actually watchable. Because he actually told me that if they would have just left it and just would have run with it without any work done to it and just done a normal restoration work, it looked like garbage. It was almost unwatchable. And so he told me that they did a comparison between what it would look like if they didn't do anything to it compared to what it would look like if they did, showed it to Jim, and Jim chose the lesser of two evils, is what he said. And he said, you know what? We got to do it this way. And people aren't going to understand. People are going to whine and bitch about it. But otherwise, it's not going to be watchable. And people will be even more angry about what they actually got if they didn't do this work. And that's one thing that a lot of people don't understand. And it gets on my nerves. It's like, you don't know what it would have looked like if they didn't do this process. And the fact that the people who have years of experience restoring films say it was unwatchable, that kind of says something right there. And then a lot of people are blaming Peter Jackson's company. Is it Park Road Studios? People are putting so much blame on that, which I think is stupid. First of all, it's not their decision. It's the director's decision of how he wants the film to look. And you said what we had was the DVD, and I went ahead and bought this off Amazon. Shh, don't tell anyone. The bootleg Spanish copy, and I compared this to the DVD, and this actually looks worse than the DVD because it's a bootleg. It looked like they just ripped it off a torrent and slapped it on a Blu-ray. So yeah, I 100% agree. All three films, even True Lies, it's going to be, no matter how you slice it, it's going to look better than the analog NTSC non-anamorphic DVD that we had in the past. No matter what. And I agree, like what you said, it's not through the whole movie. It's certain scenes or certain shots that look like that. It's not spread through the whole film. In fact, there's close-ups of... Let me try to pull up a picture here. I'll go in and tell us more of your feelings.
Well, I actually just posted a comment in here because somebody did say that the pictures they've seen from this look like an AI cartoon, and the pictures that are going around about this are not an accurate representation of the majority of what this film looks like. They took action shots primarily of somebody moving, and so that's when the most noise reduction was used on some of those shots. The most AI enhancement was used, and for that reason, it's going to look extra egregious. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if those pictures were doctored anyways in some way, because they don't look human. And even those shots, when you're watching it on a decent OLED 4K TV with a nice standalone 4K player, they don't look as bad as those pictures look. True Lies
Yeah.
looks stupendous, better than I've ever seen it, better than I ever thought we'd see it on home video. Does it leave a little bit to be desired? Sure. I won't argue with that. However, it's pretty damn great.
Yeah, and when you look at the DVD, there's like no resolution on the
Right.
DVD at all, and you get a lot. Here's a close up of Arnie. How can this is? I mean, people are saying the close ups looks like garbage. I don't see how. I mean, the top picture is the 4K, the bottom is the DVD. So I don't see how this looks like garbage. I mean, it looks pretty similar to DVD, except it has more definition and like you can see his more clarity, but it doesn't look all smoothed out and
Right.
waxy like people are saying. And now people are DMing me, messaging me saying, "Does True Lies look like Terminator 2? Did, in their words, Cameron fuck that up too?" First of all, Cameron didn't f up Terminator 2.
Studio Canal.
It was Studio Canal did it. They used the 3D master, actually the left side of the 3D master. And people don't realize when 3D has to have a lot of smoothing done to it and even some color tweaks to make it look good in 3D. That's why it looks the way it does. Cameron didn't have anything to do with it. They didn't come to him to approve it. They didn't come to him and say, "Hey, how do you want to do
Yep.
this release?" They did it themselves. And from what I'm hearing, Lightstorm is pissed over what they did, and they have been for a long time. Now that Cameron has the rights back to the franchise, I'm hearing that he's going to start working on the 4K master for physical release. So I'm happy about that. No telling when it will happen. If it happens, it'll probably be next year. But so I'm hearing they're working on Terminator 2, Strange Days, and Solaris is what I'm hearing. Hold on here. So yeah, so we've talked about True Lies. I mean, what would you give True Lies as your rating between like a 1 and a 5?
Just for the video quality of the 4K.
Yeah.
Oh, probably like a 3.9.
See, and that's not bad at all.
Yeah.
Right. And I gave it, spoilers, I gave the video quality a 3.5 out of 5, which I think is fair. Now for the audio though, talk about a huge
Yep.
difference. That Atmos track is very aggressive. What kind of system do you have that you listen? Do you have an Atmos
I
setup?
don't. I have two young kids, and I've chosen to wait until they were old enough to not destroy them to to get another system. I sold my last one when we had our first kid, and so I've been waiting. Yeah, I'm still stuck with rinky dink nothingness, basically.
No, not even 5.1
No,
or
I have. Let's see how deep should I go on somebody else's channel? I've got two special needs kids, where
okay.
I've walked into our living room and found my kid with the toy hammer banging the hell out of my windowsill.
Oh,
I don't want to have that happen to a subwoofer, so I'm waiting. I'm waiting a little
yeah,
bit longer.
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I have an Atmos setup, which is another topic altogether. People think you can buy an Atmos setup for $200.
Not a
That's
good
not
one.
real Atmos, first of all. But anyways, yeah, and I was absolutely blown
Yep.
away by the audio quality of True Lies. I mean, the aggressiveness, the bass is very punchy, aggressive. Uh, Dialogue, music, everything is just really well balanced and mixed together. Nothing ever overpowers the other. So yeah, I mean, I gave the audio quality a 5 out of 5. I mean, that's the winner on that disc for sure. let me get into the comments here. I think some people were asking some questions here. I don't know. Did you see any that we missed here?
One big one, Cursed Vault Videos. Is there any reason directors don't release both options, the digital restored, then the original film negative restoration as a special feature? That way we have both options. I mean, first off, that's not necessarily up to the director. That's the hard part. They might be able to give insight onto the restoration and the color grade. They don't choose who has the rights for the cuts or the films or what they're allowed to release necessarily.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, really, these studios, even some boutique studios, they bring in a director just to approve the color grading, really, and to make sure it's to their standards. Sometimes they'll bring in the director, like on After Hours to Martin Scorsese. He actually came in and supervised the restoration on what was the other one that Criterion released? His name escapes me. His first film, or not his first film, but Harvey Keitel.
Talking about Mean Streets?
Mean Streets, yeah, Mean Streets. So they actually brought him in, and he brought his own print to work off the color grading off of his own personal print. And so sometimes that happens if a director really wants to work hand in hand with the studios to give a good a restoration work. But generally, typically, it's the director has nothing to do with it. Has nothing to do with it. And sometimes, like Inglourious Bastards, I don't know your thoughts on that, but that Universal really dropped the ball on that one. And Tarantino, he's like, I had nothing to do with it. It wasn't my decision. and they own the rights, they own the movie, so he can't go. He can't do anything about it. So yeah, directors really don't have a say. That's how Studio Canal did what they did with Terminator 2. One thing I want to point out here, someone left a comment. Last Movie Standing says, we also don't know the state of the original camera negatives. Post-processing is sometimes, sometimes needed, I guess, if not most times much needed. If not most times needed. Yeah, I mean, I actually got a couple comments before I started the show by people already ragging on James Cameron and True Lies and saying that, he effed it up, and Park Road, I guess, is that the name of the studio?
I don't even remember.
Okay, yeah, screwed it up. One person even said, it's crap. Just put it's crap. That's it. And I'm like, you don't even have the disc, first of all. I guarantee you these people don't even have the disc. They haven't even seen it for themselves. And they're, like we said at the top of this video, they're just going on what they're seeing on Reddit or groups. And that's true. Nobody knows what the original negatives quality looks like. Would you have ever thought that True Lies was so damaged that it would have been unwatchable? I didn't think that.
No, but that also depends on who is deeming it unwatchable and what he determines as unwatchable. Cameron's fickle, and he's very much he's somebody that's always had an affinity for technology and wanting things to look modern. So his unwatchable might be very different than what any of us would have called unwatchable.
That's true. That's true. I mean, he's a perfectionist as well. Now I was talking to about the AI use. I was actually talking to a producer friend of mine a couple nights ago, and he said that I don't know why everyone is freaking out about the use of deep AI algorithms, because we've been using them for about 20 years now with restoration.
And most companies are using them.
It's just not public knowledge. This became public knowledge, so that's why everybody's flipping out about it. It's not unusual. Let's see here. Let's try to go through here. The Grammy Reaper says, True Lies looks like an AI cartoon from pictures I've seen. Again, you're looking at pictures. I've seen pictures where people are just taking off their TV. First of all, if you're using your phone to take off TV, your phone colors are completely different than what your TV shows. And I personally think that people, like as you said, are manipulating photos to make it look worse than it actually looks, just to troll people. They're just trolling people. So, like I said, don't judge it on what you see on groups. Hey, Joshua. Thanks for joining us, man. Good to have you here. Stan says, I'll just watch my old VHS tapes. Well, you have fun with that then. I don't know if he's joking or not. I'm
He's
assuming
definitely joking.
But okay, because I seriously have people say that to me in comments. I'm just going to stick to my VHS tape. It's fine, and I know they're saying it to kind of poke the bear. They wanted me to retaliate against that, and I just say, okay, have fun with that. I don't care what you do. I'm just telling you like it is. Let's see here. I think. Yeah, so here's someone that thinks Park Road dropped the ball. Pew Burrito says Park Road dropped the ball on the Beatles restoration and Lord of the Rings Blu-ray. Has more visual detail than the 4K UHD upscale. I thought that the Lord of the Rings 4Ks looked good.
They do.
I didn't have a problem with that. I had no problem with that. All of a sudden, people are picking on this poor studio. Well, Rico, True Lies Laserdisc looked just like at the theater, and so did Aliens Laserdisc. I don't know how old you are, but I don't know about you, Ryan, but I can't remember what a movie looks like that I saw in the theater 30 years ago.
I can't remember a movie what it looked like that I saw in the theater last year. So,
right. So when people say stuff like that, I mean, I don't buy it because how are you going to know for sure? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I saw a movie last week, and if it came out on Blu-ray a couple weeks from now, I wouldn't know. It's like, so if you're going on what people saying, I don't know.
Well, again, in the screen caps and the pictures, unless you took them, they can't be trusted. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah. Well, I've noticed too that I was excited about Aliens because there's the scene on what is it, LV-24 in the beginning with on the director's cut. There's a scene where the truck drives away and it has a shot from the ground up, and there's lava tracks in the ground. I never noticed that before, and now you notice it. But I took a picture of when the salvage team came into the ship and the blue laser that goes searching for the probe. I took a picture of it. And when I took a picture of it, it looked really overblown with blue. And so I sent it to somebody and I said, okay, it doesn't look this blue, but still you can see the benefits of it. So that's another thing too, is that if you are looking at what people are taking pictures off their TV, it's not going to be accurate.
It's true.
Let's see here. I'm trying to find some questions here. Let's see here. There's I think you already read this one. Yeah, you already read that one. Let's see. John Pimmel says, I'm curious if Aliens or Abyss has a quality similar to Star Wars 4K and how they have had some cleanup. With that said, the Star Wars original trilogy 4K discs look great, look nice, not incredible, but I like it. What's your thought on that?
Honestly, I think these look much, much better than the Star Wars 4Ks. The Star Wars 4Ks are barely good. Those honestly weren't that big of an upgrade, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that. They look, I mean, it was an upgrade, but it wasn't like mind-blowing. Like, it didn't knock my socks off.
And I may be misremembering. I don't think any of those had Dolby Vision either, which means I think that's half of the benefit gone right there.
Yeah, I think it was just HDR10. Let's see here. Last Movie Standing says True Lies has a great new 43-minute special features about the behind the scenes. Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't checked out the special features yet. I need to check that out. Let's see here. I think that's about all the questions. Yeah, so obviously without continually repeating ourselves and going on and on about it, we like the 4Ks of James Cameron. He did not screw up his movies. Why would a director want to purposely screw up his movie? That's my question. He didn't. The studio, the restoration company didn't. They worked on what James Cameron wanted. That's it. They were only doing their job. And yeah, so I will be dropping the comparisons of True Lies and The Abyss first. I think I'm going to drop it on the same day. It's probably going to be closer to the end of the week. And then I'm going to work on Aliens. So, yeah, if you're new here, subscribe so you can be notified when those videos drop, because I'm telling you, it's a huge difference there. Just the fact it's anamorphic makes
Right.
makes all the difference in the world. Yeah. Let's see here. Jeremy Gilly says, has Starship Troopers gone a Dolby 4K yet? Yes, with the Steelbook.
Classic Sony re-release.
Yeah, when they've been re-releasing their 4Ks in Steelbook, that includes Dolby Vision. So yeah. Let's see here. Joe says the Alien Laserdisc was a problem to the point that Cameron mansplained the concept of film grain for months. Yeah. I mean, some of that stuff too, like I brought out Inglourious Bastards. Universal did a ton of grain management on that and didn't even consult Tarantino about it. So a lot of times it's out of the director's hands. Yeah, so Danny says, I watched True Lies, Abyss, and Aliens in the theater. Can't remember the quality, but I enjoyed all three. Great memories. Yeah, absolutely. Actually, True Lies was my twin brother Simon. It was our first R-rated movie in the theater. Was
Nice.
True Lies. And so we were, how old were we? We were 16 when that came out. So we snuck in because 18 needs accompanied by adults. Theater hopping. Yeah, so you approve, Ryan?
I wholeheartedly approve. Again, I will say good, better, best by far. I mentioned 3.9 for True Lies, just for, continuity's sake. For me, Aliens is probably about a 4.2, 4.3. An Abyss is probably about a 4.6, 4.7, somewhere around there.
Yeah, I was really impressed with the Abyss. I'm going to bring out this. Pew Burrito says, I think the new transfer theatrical cut of the Abyss is airing on Showtime now. I don't know. I mean, it could be, but I don't know. But I will say this. Don't watch the theatrical cut.
Yeah.
I know people that only watch the theatrical cut and they don't like the movie. And I'm plead with them. Watch the director's cut. Give it a chance. Almost 30, 40 minutes of extra footage. And it's not just needless. It actually, it moves the story. You have more depth to characters, character development. It explains why the aliens are there in the first place. So yeah, I mean, Fox butchered the film when they released it theatrically. But yeah, director's cut is really the only way to watch The Abyss.
Fully agreed.
Yeah, so tell us, are you able to tell us any new prospects you're working on of TerraVision?
All I can say publicly is their last August they did a live stream where they announced literally like 26 titles. They announced things way earlier than they should have because people have been complaining since then every month. Hey, are you guys putting this out yet? No, not yet. But they are all still coming. Most of them will be out by the end of this year. And we're talking fairly heavy hitter titles like Gatorbait and the sequel Gatorbait 2, Nailgun Massacre and Papatopoulos and City of Violent Children, I think is the name of that one, or Violent Rome. I always get that one confused. We're looking at Black Cobra, I believe 1 and 2. There's so many. A handful of the City Lights titles will be out before the end of this year. There's a lot.
Wow. Now, were you involved in the Dante's Inferno?
I helped a little bit with the booklet.
Okay. What I was curious, and I've been trying to get Brad Henderson on the show, and I've talked to him sometimes. I talk to him periodically, and so we're trying to work that out. But it includes 4 different versions of the film: the red tint, green tint, black and white. So my question is, and what I keep having people ask me is, which is the preferred version of how it was released?
Well, honestly, that depends on you. They were shown in different ways all over the world. So based on that, there is no real preferred version because some people Most people only ever saw one version. So it's up to you to watch and make the decision of what do you prefer. Because honestly, the biggest thing is when you watch the four different cuts, or not cuts, but the four different grades, it gives like a different vibe. Like when you watch the red tint one, it feels like it's already a sinister movie, and it feels more sinister. It feels more haunting when you watch that red tint version. So yeah, it absolutely just you should change it based on what you check out.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's interesting. I haven't checked it out yet. I can't wait to dive into it. I mean, that movie is 1911, I believe, when
Yep.
that movie was released. And what was it, a monumental undertaking to get that restored? Because I believe it was restored in
It was
4K,
a 4K
but
restoration by
released.
Redwood Creek Films. Originally, that was a Kickstarter 2.5 or so years ago. They did that, and then they licensed their restoration to TerraVision, who also did more restoration work. And so, after all of that's how we're ending up with four different versions of this movie.
That's awesome. Yeah, and it amazes me, these preserving film, which you can't say for major studios anymore. They just don't seem to care. Um, News just in from Pew Burrito. Guys, and Intel on 7. Drew McKinney stirring up trouble saying Fincher is using AI on it. Well, then again, like we said earlier, they use AI algorithms all the time. And now, because of Cameron, it's become public, and now everybody is going to say, this restoration work is using AI. Screw this restoration. When before, if it wasn't made public, you wouldn't even have known. You would have never known. So make like you don't know. But seven, Cameron has Cameron Fincher has finished the restoration to 7. He's approved it. It's going to be out, I believe, in the UK in April, and then here domestically in May. And I can't wait to see that. Warner Brothers did the restoration work, so I don't know. They've been doing pretty good lately with the restoration work. I really haven't had any issues with it. So hopefully that'll be a good one. Let's see
Hopefully,
here.
now we get the better Fincher movies in 4K.
Well, I mean, they announced Panic Room
Years ago,
like a year
more
ago,
than that.
year
It's
and
been
a
about
half
3
ago.
years. Yeah.
Yeah, and from what I heard, Fincher didn't approve of the work, and so they've gone back to the drawing board. Yeah, like Simon says, AI isn't a bad thing; it's a tool to use. Yeah, I think now with studios, especially with Hollywood wanting to use AI for everything, what we went through with the strikes, where they wanted to use AI to replace background characters and all this stuff. I think AI has become a really bad word now to the film community, when it's always been used, and if it's used properly and used as a tool like it should, there's not a problem
Yeah.
with it. But as we know, studios are looking at it just to save money, though, right now. Let's see here. They literally have to redo outdoor shots through Windows for 7 because HDR took out the blown out whites. Yeah, I'm not sure. But if they fixed it, that's good, because I know they were really blown out on the Blu-ray. So hopefully they fix it. Simon says hopefully we will see Fight Club. I don't think so. Disney owns
Well,
that now,
based on how
and
it
they're
was
going
filmed,
to.
I don't know that that's truly possible.
Was it filmed?
I
How was it
think
filmed?
that one was just a 2K.
Yeah, it was 2K. So, yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't really looked into it. But also the fact that, I mean, Fox disowned that
Right.
movie when it came out, and Disney. I know the person that actually greenlit Fight Club was fired for greenlighting that movie. Yeah, they're not gonna. I don't see Fight Club ever coming to a 4K. But I mean, never say never, but I don't see it. Pew Burrito says anticipating Manhunter announced and canceled, and Dark City would be great. Manhunter is another one that they did announce, but it hasn't been come out yet. Um, just a second here. Sorry. So, tell us about what new releases are you looking forward to?
Oh man, all kinds of stuff. If anybody's paying attention on the the dark web of physical media today, there's all kinds of Warner leaks that came out today. Basically, the fact that we are likely getting finally some 4Ks that have been rumored for the last couple of years. I'm definitely looking forward to most of those, especially the Kubrick. So far, those have all looked incredible. Big thing, the first classic PTA in 4K. Eager for that one. There's all kinds of stuff that I'm working on the discs right now, and I'm eager for those to come out. Like I said, I have my own production company, and there's stuff. I recorded extras for some releases last July that haven't been announced, and some of the companies that we did stuff for last July and August, they've got stuff already scheduled all the way out through July. So I don't see them announcing stuff for the next couple months probably, which means it's probably not going to come out till a year after I did the extras. So eager to see whatever happens with some of those.
I believe. I mean, that's usually the case, right?
It depends on the company. Some of the companies, like Frank Jang, is a friend of mine, and he's told me some stories. Like Eureka in the UK will come to him and say, "Hey, can you do an audio commentary for this random Hong Kong title we just acquired? We're announcing this in 4 weeks, and it goes to production 2 weeks later. We need it in 2 weeks from right now." So it really depends on the company and how they're doing it.
Yeah. I know some people. I've known people that shot special features for movies, and they never see the light of day. They end up not being on the release for one reason or another. So, but yeah. I mean, I know, like you said, Warner Brothers is, and Warner Brothers actually put out that tweet. What do you want to see? A poll. I mean, everybody's clamoring for Nightmare on Elm Street. I don't know if they'll do. Do you think they'll do the whole series in 4K or just the first one? Because I know the first one has a 4K scan.
It does, and the 4K restoration looks great. I saw that at theater. This October will be 3 years ago. So I kind of doubt they're going to be able to do the whole series, at least for this year. I think eventually they might, because it will make them just truckfuls of money if they ever do that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's also a lot of work, and 4K restorations are very expensive, especially to invest in a franchise to do 4K restorations. One good 4K restoration generally is somewhere between $50,000 and $75,000 on the low end. So to have a studio do 8 of them altogether, that's a lot of money to invest.
Yeah, I always heard to have a good restoration, to do it good, is about $100,000 to $125,000, and that's just one movie, guys. And there's what, 7 or 6 Freddy movies, so that's a ton of money. And so I heard that Dirty Harry will be coming out, and some other, which all these Warner Brothers titles that we wanted. They should have brought out with a 100-year anniversary last year. You know, they really dropped the ball.
Well, even the releases we got for the 100-year, they dropped the ball on a lot of those too. So,
yeah. It's very, very skimming on their release slate for last year. I'll say that. It was, yes. Let's see here. Last movie standing says, "I'm waiting for Lake Placid to hopefully come to 4K." Hey.
I've seen Stranger Things. There's Uwe Boll films coming out on 4K now.
Yeah, the Postal.
That and Blood Rain.
Yeah. Let's see here. Simon says he can't wait for The Crow. I'm the only problem is because Alex Proyas did not approve the transfer, so I'm sure it's going to look good, way better than the DVD that we had, but still, I don't know. Hopefully, it's a great transfer. DC says, get ready for the Warner Brothers 101 anniversary editions. Exactly, the gold. It will have the gold 101. 101. Um, yeah, I mean, I think we're going to wrap it up. I've been dragging all day, so I'm kind of spaced out right now. If you guys can't tell, I'm kind of searching for words what to say. I've had better streams. I've been up since I didn't get to bed till like 5:30, and I've been up since like 10:30. So yeah, I'm about head. I'm about ready to fall down now. Um, let's see. Let's get a couple more comments here. It says hopefully Sony Columbia will fare better this year with their 100th anniversary. Well, actually, that brings a good question to you, for somebody that actually works in the business. What's your thoughts on the Disney Sony merger?
What is the best way to say this? I first off, I get why the Disney 4Ks have sucked so much now that we've gotten some information about how that's worked behind the scenes. Completely makes sense, completely understandable. It's dumb, and this is why corporations ruin a lot of good things for the rest of us. So when it comes to the Sony taking over, I'm cautiously optimistic that a couple things. I think if Disney sees, hey, people can be happy with our discs and we can actually make money off of these finally, maybe they'll turn this into overdrive and over the next couple of years they'll ramp it up to 11. Or the other end, we'll just keep getting the same nothing, and when they put out a new disc, it'll just be through Sony. And honestly,
Yeah.
either way, it's better than it was 6 months ago. So
Oh
any
yeah.
disc coming out through Sony is going to look better than a Disney disc, and I can't complain. I'm hoping for the prior situation where maybe they'll wise up and we'll get every title we've been dreaming for years. But it's Disney. I mean, they invented the vault. I'm doubting that we're going to get
Yeah.
a deluge of titles.
Yeah. I John Thompson, a producer. He's a producer and executive, and I'm friends with him, and we were talking about this, and he said that he was actually part of the deal, and it was going on. It started about 3 years ago, talking Bob Iger talking to Sony about this, and he was saying that Disney, you know, their whole focus was 100% on Disney Plus. That's all they wanted. They didn't want home media. Disney Plus is what it
Yep.
was, or physical media. Disney Plus is what it was. And so what did they do? They let go of all the good people there that knew what they were doing and understood the format, and all we've had is crap since. Bob Iger realized that he shot himself in the foot with this, according to the producer friend of mine, and he realizes there's money to be made now. However, they don't have any
Yep.
people. He has no good people there. So Sony, I think Sony is the best major studio putting out
By
physical
a
media
long
right
shot.
now. Their stuff is immaculate. I mean, and they do great work. So I think Sony, this merger is good. And Sony's going to do a good job. The only thing is what titles are they going to license out to Sony? You know, are we going to get the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea? Are we going to get these classic Disney films or not? And then Fox movies, Fox titles, these classic Fox titles like Planet of the Apes. Just these wealth of Fox titles. Is Disney going to allow Sony to work
Right.
on those? So that's all up in the air right now. I think they will, maybe not right away, but I think they will when they start seeing that, hey, people are actually buying these. I can also see with those Columbia House, I said Columbia House, remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Columbia House record deal. The Columbia box sets, volume 1 through 2, 3, 4. I think that Sony may do that with like doing a bundle box set deal of Disney. Yeah. Can never go wrong with that, with those. I think Sony's going to probably do a box set like that for Disney movies. It seems like they may go that
If
route.
Disney would let them, I think that would be, first off, one of the best selling items that Disney's done for physical media in the last 15 years. But second off, I think that one of those being released would change their minds on physical media immediately.
Oh, 100%, 100%.
And then don't
Yeah.
get me started if they did that for like a Touchstone box set or an Amblin
Oh,
box set
phew.
or any of those other random production companies that falls under Fox. It would explode in popularity.
Well, I don't know about you, but I hear it every day. Where's the
Yep.
Rock? Rock 4K. We need the Rock on 4K. Con Air.
Yep.
Pretty Woman. I had somebody tell me the other day. Good Morning Vietnam. So many great
Yep.
titles that desperately need to be preserved and salvaged on physical media.
Well, and we're also just talking about classic films. There's still a litany of brand new movies that are not going out that
Yeah,
absolutely need it as well.
that's true. That's true. I was surprised. I was blown away when Disney released the Star Wars and Marvel shows on
There's
physical
money to
media.
be made.
I was I was shocked, and that shows right there. Bob Iger knows
Yep.
there's money there to be made. See, DC says, but Ryan, what about that glorious Disney 100 box set from a year ago with that classic crystal Mickey Mouse ears? That was what,
No,
$1,000?
1,500.
1,500. That was insane. And they're not. They were, and I just heard that they were just like ported over from an old.
No, it's
scan,
literally the
not
exact
even-
same discs from all of the other releases, just together. Yeah.
Oh, really? That was ridiculous. Movie Collector says, I need Tombstone. Yeah, that's been rumored for years coming on 4K. Magnolia on 4K, for sure. Dick Tracy, that would be cool in 4K, especially with all the vibrant colors, comic book colors it has. Yeah. So I think, yeah, it's been great. I mean, I think we're going to end the show now. I got to wrap this up. I'm going to go to bed early. Thanks so much for joining me, Ryan. We need to do this again when I'm more awake.
Please.
Have more to say. So we'll invite you on again for sure. Thanks so much for everyone for joining us tonight. It means a lot. And yeah, if you guys haven't, followed me, give me a follow, because like I said, I do these Blu-ray versus 4K and 4K versus DVD comparisons. You can check it out on my channel. I got a playlist, and I've also done interviews with filmmakers. Like I did an interview with Alex Proyas, where he talked a lot about The Crow and Dark City. So yeah, I got a lot of good stuff on the channel if you guys want to check it out. If not, that's okay. All right, guys. Thanks so much for joining us. Thanks, Ryan, for coming aboard.
Happily.
We'll do this again for sure. And guys, remember, keep physical media alive. We'll see ya.